The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to Am I Mental, a weekly live podcast where real people share real stories about living their lives with mental health issues and things that impact mental health. I'm your host, E, and with us as always is the co-host, Bexy.
Hello.
And C.
Hello.
Now, normally at this point, I kind of may hint a little bit about the guest, and I will say, you do know this guest. You hear them fairly often. You see, Bexy and I have had multiple episodes for ourselves over the course of this podcast. C is tonight's guest, going to continue on talking and getting to know C a little bit better. The pre-show, because we didn't necessarily need a pre-show, but we wouldn't have had one anyway, and we had an absolute blast. And I learned more about C in that short time than I have since, talking to C on Reddit to get them on the show to begin with. Which feels like an age ago, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Yeah, so, again, really fast, just to throw it out there, we are getting due to do our payment for our web hosting. If you would like to donate and help us with that, we would really appreciate it. Every penny that we've ever received has just gone right straight back into the podcast. Otherwise, if it comes out of my pocket, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to stop, doing this just because something came out of my pocket. Been getting a lot of positive feedback from random people lately that I've never met before, talking about how this podcast is changing their lives, and that one person in particular, who happens to be a friend of mine that I've reconnected with, flat out told me, "For the love that is all that is holy, never ever stop this podcast." So, hey, you know what? Even on the days where I'm kind of feeling bleh, it's that kind of stuff that keeps me going on this, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with C and Bexy, because I share these pieces of feedback with them all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It's wonderful to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's we know that we're doing something well to begin with, but it's really nice to get that affirmation, the confirmation back that we are doing something worthwhile. So by all means, keep sharing the word, keep spreading it out there. People are picking up on it, and this is awesome. Share episodes that you think will resonate with people with them, or share an episode that resonated with you with someone and explain to them why. We now have multiple people that have said that they have that this podcast has saved their lives, that they were going to commit suicide and they changed their mind. And I mean, even one person doing that made this podcast a complete success. Having more than one person, I mean,
that's amazing. It's
humble
Absolutely.
brag. Yeah, humble brag.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gotta brag about it. But, I mean, at the same time, it really does bring some humility, too, Because, just wow. On top of that, if you want to help out further, you can always go to amimental.net/donate. And we have a number of ways that you can donate. And we also have a Teespring store. Haven't had very many sales on there. The tote bag's the most popular thing, by far. So if I start altering around what's on that shop, the tote bag's going to stay. Because, yes, that tote bag is badass. I mean, it really is. It even has a little pocket up near the top for, loose change and small items, so you don't have to dig around to the bottom of the damn bag looking for that little item that you have. So, yeah.
The blessing.
Yes. With all that out of the way, welcome back to being a guest, C. How you feeling?
I'm very, very nervous. My hands are very sweaty.
I know, and it's like you've been with us for over a full season now. Yeah, and like everybody who comes on, they always talk about how nervous they are. Even people that have done public speaking, radio, other podcasts, they tend to get a little nervous because, as you pointed out earlier, you get very vulnerable when you're doing an episode about yourself. And yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, if we get nervous still doing it, you know, anybody
We
else that comes on,
understand
but
why the guests do as well.
yeah, we absolutely understand. We've all been there. Don't let that be a barrier for reaching out to try to be a guest. If you have something you want to share, know that we got your back. And if you haven't heard, we have the best listeners ever. Our chat room is the most supportive chat room you'll ever experience. Even if you think that you're a terrible person and no one would ever support you, you'd be completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all that out of the way, what are we talking about, C?
Well, we're going to be talking about some stuff that I missed last time, mainly gender, sexuality, some not even really attempts, but close calls with suicide, and things like that. It's going to be very interesting.
Now, of course, the Joker in me goes, how do you have a close attempt to suicide? Did you, like, accidentally almost kill yourself?
No.
I get it.
It was, I forget when it happened. I think it was like before the third time I was hospitalized, because it was why I was hospitalized. I made a noose from a scarf that I had, and it was late at night. People were asleep. It was just me awake, from what I could tell. And we have this railing and a staircase that goes down, and off to the side, it's really far drop. So if someone were to hang themselves, they would just kind of snap their neck. And that's exactly what I was aiming for. I started climbing over the railing, and at the last second, I was like, I can't do this. So I climbed back over, cried for I don't know how long, and then went to bed. I told my therapist, and I was hospitalized at one of the worst hospitals I ever went to.
I'm sorry.
Literally, they kept me for not even a day. I went there twice, and they kept me for not even a day. There was this really small room. It was like the minor room, as I like to call it, where the kids go. There was no windows. There was no clock. There was a TV, and someone guarding your doorway on a computer. At most, the thing you could do was just sleep. So that's what I did the majority of the time until they told my mom, yep, they're ready to go, and just kind of pushed me out the door back to her.
And what did they do? They let you sleep.
That's all that really happened. They would pull you aside just to talk briefly, but then they would just let you go back into the room, and you just kind of sat there. I remember at one
at least
point...
I had windows.
I know, right? It sucked being in that room because I couldn't tell what time it was.
Yeah, I mean,
you had to ask the doctor.
I got to watch cars coming and going on and off the freeway from my window, which, not the greatest thing in the world, but at the same time, it was something to look at.
Exactly. It gives you something to do, at least.
Yeah, but no, when I was checked in, I was in there for 3 days. I slept all 3 days. I was awake all 3 nights. I missed all the group therapy. I missed everything. They just basically said, okay, here's Ambien to add on to your antidepressant. Now get the hell out of here. But then I went to an IPO, which was awesome.
Yeah, that hospital was really whack. I remember the first time I had one other person come in after me. I fell asleep, and I woke up to them in a cot, like, next to mine. And she asked me, have you been hospitalized before? I was like, yeah. I asked her, have you? She said, no, this is my first time. I said, oh, okay. She said, are we going to get out of here? I was like, yeah, we are. And we went to bed, and then I woke up and she was gone. So I assumed they moved her to another hospital, or they just let her go. I'm not too sure, to be honest. And the second time, our room was pretty crowded. I remember we had to get some cots for like the floor because we had so many little quote unquote roommates. We just kind of chilled in there, slept, watched the TV when they turned it on. slept some more. They give us one of those. They're those peanut butter jelly pies. I forget what they're called. Like they got peanut butter and jelly inside, and it was a peanut butter one, and I was trying to eat it, and I just was so sick, I just threw it all away. I was like, I'm not eating this. I'm gonna throw up if I do.
Like an Uncrustable?
Yeah. Exactly.
I love Uncrustables, personally. I like them when they're
great
still
toasted.
Oh, I like them when they're just frozen.
It was cold, man. It was a cold one.
Toasted, though.
But yes, that was the close call, I guess you could say.
I'm just glad you didn't slip when climbing back over the railing, because that would have sucked.
Yes. We've got a couple of hearts and hugs for C from Kat. Missy says, "Wow, so glad you're still here, C." And Missy also says, "Seriously, angels, don't eat it, C. Good snacks only."
Yes, only apples for me from those hospitals, man.
And even then, you got to watch out for all the brown spots.
Yep, you got to eat around them.
Yeah.
That's the best way. But
no, I don't know anything about hospital food. I will say that the hospital food when you're in labor and delivery is actually pretty decent, because I mean they want the moms to eat well when they finally can eat.
Right.
Like, I think I remember when my best friend had her last baby, like the last day of her hospital visit, she got like a steak and shrimp dinner.
Oh, wow.
I'd be a little bit afraid of the shrimp, to be honest.
I'm always afraid of shrimp, but...
Well, the shrimp would kill you. There's a difference.
Yes.
Well, shrimp are very high in iodine, and iodine is a laxative. So, yeah.
Fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you don't eat nothing but shrimp.
I mean, I wouldn't imagine anyone could live off of that, really. I assume they would get tired of shrimp at some point.
You ever see Castaway?
No, I don't think so.
Tom Hanks' character gets stuck on a deserted island for years.
Is it with Wilson?
Yes.
Wilson!
Okay, yes, I know.
And what do they serve when he gets found? A seafood buffet. Like, seriously? Talk about being completely insensitive to what the dude had just been through. He probably wanted steak and, lamb chops and ham and cheeseburgers. Yeah, he probably, the stuff
French fries.
Right, exactly. Vegetables.
Yeah.
Right?
Seafood.
It's like, bring on the broccoli.
Right? It's bring me asparagus. I thought you hate asparagus. I do, but I haven't had it in so long. I need to remind myself why I hate it. I'm going to love hating it this time.
Yes, that's the attitude. That's the spirit.
Meanwhile, Missy said that she enjoyed the hospital food during her stay.
Oh,
yeah. My stay wasn't so bad, but where I went, it wasn't really a hospital. It was a mental health facility all by itself, standalone, with its own kitchen and everything. And the food there was actually decent, but I liked it better when we were able to go walk and get some food, because there was a sandwich shop across the street from us that was just, oh my god.
I don't think we're ever allowed to leave the facility unless it's to discharge you, really.
Mine was when I was with the intensive outpatient part, but when I was in the inpatient, yeah, there was no leaving.
Yeah. I think the only time we ever, quote unquote, left was when we would go outside, or for the first time I was hospitalized, going down to the cafeteria. They had ranks. Rank 1, you got to stay upstairs and they give you the food that they pick, and you got to eat that. Rank 2, you got to get all the signatures from the nighttime and the daytime nurses, and You rank up to 2 and you get to go downstairs to the actual cafeteria with all the other rank 2s. And you watch the adults leave and you eat with the other kids. Rank 3, I believe you just get to stay up longer. They had like a bedtime schedule. We didn't abide by those, obviously. Once it was time to change shifts, we just stayed in our rooms and bounced our stress balls against the walls, or like chuck them down the wall at each other.
Yeah, we had a locked hallway, and there was one other patient and myself. There was a patient, and we had a super ball, and we just sat on opposite ends, just hucking the ball back and forth. And the security was like, "You're disturbing the other patients." I'm like, "There's no other patients saying shit."
Exactly, Mr. Security Guard.
Yeah, it's
Don't
like,
bother us.
It's like, and I know that every single one of them would say something because we're all here and a little bit pissed off.
Right. But that close call, I think about it quite a few times, actually. When I have my low days or my worst days, really, that's usually the thing that pops into my head is, man, I really wish I could have just done that. Jumped off of it. I know it's terrible. And when I have my better days, obviously, I don't really think like that. But on the worst days, it's like, man, I really could have just saved myself all the trouble and could have just like broken my neck or something. Well, much easier.
And
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that you're starting to notice now that the bad days are hopefully spacing themselves out further and further apart.
Yeah, they definitely do that. Sometimes it's sporadic. Other times it comes with, which is something else I'm going to talk about, like my period. I've found that once that comes around, I can get extremely low, like to the point where I have been hospitalized just because of that. It's terrible, honestly. I hate it. The more sporadic days, I just kind of wake up and I feel just off, just that off feeling. You just know something's not right. And
although I will say from my experience, even though I'm a guy, I have yet to find a female that actually goes, "Yay, period." Exactly. I know for you it's different, but just saying.
I joke about it all the time to just rip it out of me, take it away. It's making jokes about it is my way to cope with it. My mom and my aunt take it seriously. They're like, "Well, how will you have kids?" It's like, well, I don't really care about that right now. I just want the pain to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems fair, right?
And we're already getting some replies in the chat room again.
Okay. I can't see them.
All right.
Of course.
Okay, so Missy said, when we were talking about the stress ball stuff, she said stress ball Olympics. Then Sarah jumped in and said the bad days are rough, especially when they come out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Missy, again, hormones really affect our brain chemistry. Yeah, no kidding. Kat, only if it's been a scare, then it's a yay. And then Missy, I love the fact you cope with humor, see. Yeah, there's a meme that got posted up on the Am I Mental Facebook page. It shows, yeah, I got it and I posted it. It shows a dam saying, coping.
I remember that meme.
It's all like, it shows the water behind a dam. It's like my mental health or something like that, or my prime problems. Then it's the dam is me using humor to cope with it. And then below is like my actual, like my mental health is the town. So it's like the mental problem is being held back by the humor.
I've seen that. Yes, I've seen that.
It's scary accurate.
It is. It really is. It's scarily accurate.
Oh, but Kat actually came up with a suggestion here.
Yes, Kat said you can talk to your doctor about low-dose birth control to possibly assist with the up-down hormone levels.
We did at one point try hormonal birth control to try to keep it in balance. That didn't really work, so I'm waiting for the next best option to just try to stop it altogether. Because I hate this. It's agonizing mentally and physically. But honestly, I kind of forget that I have a female body until my period comes around.
Right. Which that's something I'm sure you're going to discuss further today.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I can say from my ex-wife, she was a big fan of Depo-Provera. When she was on it, she had one final period, and it was just spotting for about a month, and then she didn't have a period for years.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
The downside to it, though, is that weight gain is a serious issue with that particular birth control.
Okay.
So you have to be careful with that. And even after you quit Depo, it could take up to 2 years for your body to re-regulate back to normal again. Which is when my ex-wife and I were trying to get pregnant. we were a year and a half in of trying, and she didn't really have periods. They didn't last very long. And we went to the doctor going, when should we be worried? They're like, oh, it's only been a year and a half. Don't worry until about 2.5 years. 2 years is about average. 2 months later, we got pregnant.
I've had one of the side effects of my antidepressant is actually shortened periods.
That sounds like a blessing for most people.
Very much so.
It doesn't do anything about the pain. And I have always had, issues with that, but it did shorten it. As somebody who's, before I realized about the Hashimoto's, I would have periods that would last 6 to 9 months.
God! Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare, bro.
It was hell on earth.
I'm laughing, but I'm just laughing.
It sounds more like
so terrible.
It sounds more like hell between your legs. Just saying.
Yeah, it was pretty much just awful all the time, and this went on for years. Like, it would stop for maybe a month and then start all over again.
Jesus.
And this was all because of my thyroid. The moment I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's and I got put on thyroid meds, all of that hormonal issue stopped.
That's amazing.
And
That's
then
good, at least.
I got my antidepressant, and it shortened it from 5 to 10 days to like somewhere between 3 to 4.
Oh, wow.
So from like 6+ months to 3 to 4 days. That's a hell of an improvement.
Yes.
Definitely.
And we have
Yeah,
that. Oh, go for it.
What, go on. I was just going to say, I really can't imagine going through that for 4 to 6 months. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. We have some, Sarah says there are hormone specialists out there too. And she said, I have an IUD. It took 4 months, but I have not had a period in 6 months. Missy says, I was going to say there might be pharmacological options that have multiple uses. Kat said, birth control pills are great. I had bad issues plus ovarian cysts, so I got to be on them until I stopped completely around 45-ish. And then I got a couple of holy shits and geez.
Yeah. I mean,
I know that my
what
wife.
else can you say to that?
It's like my current wife. She's anemic, so when she has her period, it's really brutal, and it's called hemorrhage, where she bleeds heavily for like 7 days. And I've seen where she has to crawl on hands and knees to get to the bed because she is just so wrecked by it.
Yeah.
Some people are like, "Oh, she's just being dramatic." It's like, no, you don't understand. No. It's not just for her. It's not just the lining that's coming out. There's more coming out.
Mm. I totally understand that because I have those days where I can literally be walking through the house and be brought to my knees in pain.
Yeah, but for her, it's not even pain. It's just fear. It's just sheer physical exhaustion.
Yeah, because periods do that to you too. I find whenever it comes rolling around, I fall asleep real early, like around 6 o'clock, so it's still light out
I've
when
noticed
I
that you
pass
disappear
out.
sometimes. Now I know why.
Yes, I'll just pass out randomly and then I'll wake up around, I don't even know, sometime in the middle of the night, do whatever, then go back to sleep. And then wake up early. It's a vicious cycle because I hate waking up early. I'd rather sleep in.
I am so torn down the middle when it comes to getting up early because, like, if you give me the choice between sunrise and sunset, I love sunrise. Sunsets are cool, they really are, but I love sunrise for whatever reason. I always have. I think it's because I love fishing, and that's one of the best times to go. But I hate being up early. So,
Yeah.
when I was younger, it was really easy. I just stayed up until sunrise.
I mean,
Can't do that anymore.
that's how I do it.
Yeah, but you're also considerably younger than me.
Yes, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
but I'm still a night out. Like the perfect job for me would be having this podcast be what I do first thing when I wake up, and then spending the rest of the night doing stuff. That's just my natural wiring. But I'm also a creature of the sun, which really sucks.
I'm the complete opposite.
I
Oh,
need
go
the
on.
sun. Go for it.
I'm the complete opposite. This is really sad. Not like sad, just I'll explain. So as a kid, I'm the person that tans in the family, right? I don't burn like how my deceased sister or my mom does, right? I was always tanner than my mom. She's super pale, but it's gotten to the point where I'm paler than her. I don't leave the house so often.
Dang. Meanwhile, it's like I have enough Native American blood, like you can see its influences on me physically, including I have a red hue to my skin. But I tell you what,
Oh.
I tan nicely, and if I do burn, when I peel off the burn, it is a perfect tan underneath, like an amazing tan. I've had people hate me for it for my whole life. It's seventh grade. No, it was eighth grade. Wound up going to Hawaii in the middle of December for a week with my parents. Came back and I was bronze.
Oh my God.
And I lived in an
Yeah,
area that it's snowy and you don't see the sun from November until like February or March. And I came back bronze.
You know what? I believe that because when my sisters they took a trip to Hawaii just for the fun of it. Again, my deceased sister is super pale and she burns easily. She put on SPF 100 and still got burned to the point where she had to sit in a bath of tea just to make it better and had to just smear aloe all over herself because it was painful to
Oh.
move.
Another thing that works, as weird as this sounds, and we discovered that my wife and I, we went to San Juan del Cabo for our honeymoon, which is just outside of Cabo San Lucas, which is, more people know of that. And we got burnt to shit. We went out snorkeling, and we forgot to reapply after we were done, and on that catamaran ride back, we got burnt to shit. Refrigerated
Came all
Pepto.
crispy.
Oh yeah, refrigerated Pepto Bismol works really good. Sometimes better than aloe to rub that on your body. It was funny because we were like these pink creatures for a while because we were covered in Pepto, but it actually worked. It felt so good. And then she's Mexican, and I'm about as white as they come. Yet, like naturally because of the Native American in me. Again, I don't have very much, but what I have is freaking dominant as hell. During the wintertime, I'm darker than she is. But when we peeled, she came out way darker than me. Although I came out pretty damn dark too. But we're both like, this is cool. We peel and we're tan underneath. It's not like we peel and we're pasty underneath.
Yeah, unlike me, who will burn and blister, and then it will peel and freckle, and that's all it will do.
Ouch.
I mean, I have actually gotten, I have used very high SPF sunscreen, been at a water park, reapplied every 45 minutes just to be very careful, and still ended up with third-degree burns on my back.
Oh my god.
I burned so easy.
Oh.
And I know this is going to freak some people out, but it was something I fell in love with doing with my grandpa. And now I'm doing it with my youngest kids and when my grandkids get old enough.
Peeling the skin?
Yep.
Yes, I've done it too!
It's fun!
It is! It's satisfying.
It really is. It's almost like bubble wrap. Especially when you get that really long, thick strip.
Just peel it right off. Roll
Okay, I'm not the only one. Finally, it's someone outside of my own family that likes that.
Oh yeah.
We just got called psychos.
No, I actually remember my older nephew. He's also white as fuck.
Oh,
and
Mitzi!
He also burned.
Missy calling us psychos, and then says she likes to do it too. One of us. One of us.
One of us. One of us. But I have this distinct memory of I was younger and we were at my brother's house and my nephew came back and he was peeling and he just sat there and let me peel all the skin off of him. I don't even really know why, but he just let me.
I mean, honestly, there really, as far as I can tell, there's not really a reason to let the skin stay. Because, I mean,
right.
If you look at, like, when it comes to, like, burns, like, got caught in a fire burns, the first thing they do is they take you to what's called the tub, and they break out the scraper.
Yeah.
And there's no time for anesthesia. They just go right at it, scraping off your dead, burned flesh. Because you will die of dehydration otherwise, because your body's going to pump liquids like crazy into your dead flesh trying to protect you. So they got to get rid of it. So I don't see any reason why your dead skin should stay on when it's peeling. I mean, it's a much lesser thing, but still.
Right.
Yeah. And one day I might have to talk about the time I spent a week at a pediatric burn unit floor. Because of work, they made me do it, and I actually got to see a kid come in post-operation and post-tub.
I can only imagine.
Same age as my daughter at the time, too. I went back to my hotel room, and I just bawled my eyes out.
Oh, that reminds me of a little girl. Back when, again, I was younger, we lived somewhere else, and there was this little girl. All I remember is that she got a hold of something her mom was boiling. She poured it all on herself. She had big bubbles on her skin, and it was terrifying because I think she was like 2. Oh. And all you could really hear was her wailing and the mom having to go with her. It was, yeah.
One thing that I did learn while I was there is for every 1% of your body covered in third-degree burns, that is a 1% chance that you will not make it. The kid that came in was 70% covered in third-degree burns.
Oh my god.
I'll just throw it out there really fast and just get it over with. The mom was out shopping, and her boyfriend was home and was responsible for giving the kid a bath. He turned on just the hot water and then put the kid in and burnt the kid 70%. The kid was supposed to die before making it to the hospital, survived to the hospital. Was supposed to die in surgery, survived surgery. Was supposed to die before the night was over, survived through the night. Unfortunately, crashed twice during the night when I was working graveyard shift that night, so I was helping the nurses to get their stuff. But that morning, he crashed one more time, and they were unable to revive him.
That's so sad.
And they didn't tell me any of it because they didn't know what they could and couldn't release as far as information. HIPAA laws. Right, I had to learn about it through the local news. And I watched that mom walk those halls in absolute heartbreak. It was the single most painful thing I've ever seen in my life. She trusted her baby with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend killed him. The kid was 3 years old.
Oh.
same age as my daughter at that time, and I was in Nebraska, and my kid was in San Diego.
That's the same age as two of my nieces. I can't even imagine, honestly.
I mean, you look at them, the whole world is their oyster. The future is bright. And to have that just taken away, whether it was malicious intent or pure accident, doesn't really matter.
Because they lost their life.
Exactly.
You can't really bring them back, no matter their age. Quite sad.
Yeah. So enough about that. Let's get back to your story, because.
Yeah. Okay. I guess let's start 7th grade summer when the depression started kicking off, right? Alongside this, I started questioning my sexuality first. And
pretty early
the
age
only
for
reason,
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew 6th graders that had lost their virginity, but, you know.
No. No.
I'm from a very small town with a very small population and only one school. That's, you know, one elementary school, one middle school, one high school. There's nothing to do, so that kind of shit, like experimenting early, happens. We had a class of 100 students strong going in our freshman year, and 3 of the girls were already pregnant.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So, when I said that they lost their virginity, it's by 6th grade. Some of them may have lost it sooner. Willingly. But still, 7th grade, to start questioning, that is an early time to start questioning. At the same time, though, you're an old soul, so not too surprising.
Yeah, it first came about because I had this really close friend I'll call GI. She was amazing. Just this overall nice, soft-spoken person. We would walk to our classes and then we would split up. And I started developing a crush on her. How I knew it was a crush, because I had crushes before. And I was confused. I was like, huh? Like, what?
Aren't I only supposed to have this for boys?
Yeah, like, I like her. And during that year, I remember very specifically, they let us do health classes. I think they started it in like 4th grade up. I didn't get the 8th grade one because I left that school. But yeah, in 7th grade, they made us do a health class. Not made us, but you know, you could go to it. And so I did, and they let you write those questions that you have anonymously. And I remember writing, what do you do, or like, what's it mean if you have a crush on someone of the same sex, or like, you know, something along the lines like that. And she, like, you know, silently read it and then just put it aside. I don't know if she knew how to address something like that.
They probably saw that and went, oh, this is a little lawsuit landmine. But that sucks that your question didn't get answered, though.
I know, it really did.
It would have been worse is if they pulled you aside and go, so about that anonymous question you asked, it's supposed to be anonymous. How'd you know I asked?
How'd you know?
Well, it's kind of like the one I saw. It was a cool little thing. It was a letter that a dad left for his son. And it said, it was like Matt or whatever. I can't remember the name. He's like, you know, your mom and I overheard you talking to, like Jason on the phone about coming out to us tomorrow after school. Don't worry. We've known that you were gay since you were 8. And we think that you would be a great couple with, you know, Jason or whatever. But there is one thing that I do need you to do, which is to go get some orange juice and milk because we're out on your way back from school.
I love that.
Right? It was just so heartwarming hearing that. It's like, yeah, we know. We've known. thank you for finally deciding to come out, but you don't need to stress about it. You're good.
I'll speak more on that very soon because I have a similar situation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, but yeah, it was seventh grade, and turns out I got it right the first time. I just made it a lot more confusing for myself as the years went by. Because
aren't we good at that? Self-sabotage.
Very much so. Yes, very much so. But then eighth grade rolled around, and I still had a crush on her. But starting seventh grade, I started cutting my hair shorter just because I really wanted to. My hair was always super long, super thick. I hated it because it's so hard to maintain. It was like down to my lower back, mostly blonde, Yeah, so I started cutting my hair. Wow. In eighth grade, it just kept on getting shorter and shorter. Subsequently, that's also the time I started questioning my gender. So I had those both under my belt. Before I'd left that school, no, actually, seventh grade, my two other friends kind of split from me. They joined their own little, what is it called, a clique? Yeah. They joined their own little cliques, kind of left me behind. So I had one friend who I talked to consistently. And we would sit with each other during lunch while we're eating, and we would play Would You Rather. And we played this every single day, unless one of us missed the school or whatever. But we played it every single day. And one day, this random kid comes up to her and goes, "You need to read this Harry Potter book," and just places it down and walks away. I'm like, "Who is this? Like, who is that?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my friend DA." I was like, "Oh, really? Cool." And so we would split up after lunch, and I went to the art room, and I would just kind of sit on the floor and read. Well, the same kid came up to me, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm sitting on the floor." He was like, "Are you feeling like trash?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, I'll sit on the floor and feel like trash with you." So we made the sitting on the floor and feeling like trash club. And from there, I got adopted into their group where I made another really close friend I'll call Y. And they were the most supportive, I would say. I would talk to them a lot about my questioning. I remember at one point I thought, I know labels, you don't really need labels to be happy, but it helps me explain to people easier,
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I was gender fluid. They are a
useful tool.
Yes. It can be pretty useful. But I thought I was gender fluid. And I remember joking to her while we were walking to her house that would I be gay if I was a girl, but then straight if I was a guy? I remember just joking about that with her. She's like, "Oh, I don't know," But before I left that school, because I left eighth grade, moved down to where I live now. I had told my friend GI that I had liked her. I pulled her aside very briefly before you move on to your other classes. And I told her. She was very hesitant. She was like, "Okay." And she walked away. And, I probably surprised her, honestly. I don't think she was expecting that.
Yeah, but talk about getting kicked where it counts, though. You're like, that was not the reaction I was expecting. That was really ambiguous.
Yeah. It was quite surprising, but I felt a little bad, but, I came to realize later that, she was probably really shocked because she saw me as a friend, and that's fine. But it was the first time I was hospitalized. I was with another group of people who were LGBT, and we were just talking, and I remember talking on the phone with my mom because they let you have these little time where you can call people for a certain amount of time and you could just sit there and talk to them. Well, I was really excited, about meeting these people that I was like, yeah, and they're gay too. Because at this time, I thought I only liked girls, when in reality, I liked everyone, really. And I just slipped up like that, and she didn't catch it. And I was like, oh, yeah, mom, I'm gay. She was like, oh, okay, that's fine. We still love you. And she hangs up and she walks over to my dad. And she told me this. She was like, hey, honey, I have something to tell you. And they're like, is C gay?
Already kind of an
They're like,
idea.
yeah. They're like, oh yeah, we kind of already had a feeling. Even my brother was like, oh yeah, I already knew.
Yeah, family knows, usually. It's hard to shock them with that kind of stuff because they're usually like, who are they hanging out with all the time? And who do they get gaga-eyed over?
Yes. They ask you about crushes, things like that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of little signs that you will drop without even realizing that you're doing it. I've caught one of one of my kids was like, try being slick about how they came out about it, and I just kept rolling with it. They're like, you do realize I just told you I'm gay, right? I'm like, yeah, but I've known. It's like, it's nothing new for me, but I mean, here. Is that what you want? Or do you want a cookie? She looked at me and goes, I'll take a goddamn cookie. Okay, I'll get you a cookie. But yeah,
so sweet.
But, good parents should keep track of that kind of stuff, and be able to not be completely, broadsided by that kind of information. It's really,
Right.
again, you leave subtle hints. Everybody does. It's like a little breadcrumb trail. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Even if I didn't even realize it.
Yep.
I was so surprised that my brother and them knew. I was like, how? Like, I didn't even know. How did this happen?
Missy just said, when I came out as bi, it was like, and your point is? Hello?
And they also said earlier, too, which was good, labels can be good or bad depending on how you used and by whom. Which is very true. But yeah, no, I mean, if, like I said, it's just, if you're a parent and you're involved in your child's life, you tend to know. Some parents will sit there and like pretend like, oh no, that's not my kid, and they'll gaslight themselves into believing that their kid's not what their kid actually is. And that's sad, and I really feel horrible for those kids that have to go through with that.
Oh yeah, it sucks, especially having to hide that from your parents. That's so stressful,
Right, and even even parents that may have like very strong beliefs or feelings, like religious, for example. And I'm not just picking on any one religion. A lot of religions are really against homosexuality, not just one. But that right there, I think, is probably one of the toughest things because the parents have to struggle with that, because it's like it's their child that they love and adore. And then there's the teachings that say this is bad and wrong. I don't know what to say to those kinds of parents. I would probably say, for me, this is just my stance, trust your child. Support your child. Otherwise, they're going to rebel, and you're not going to like it.
Right.
I've seen that a few times. And you never know. I've seen some people who think, like you were saying, thought that they were gay. And they go experiment, and, you're figuring yourself out. And eventually, like, some of them come back, they're like, no, I'm cis. I mean, I find that, I find the same-sex body attractive, but it's not what I want. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's different.
Definitely. It is all right, I think more people need to just know that, especially when they are alone in it. It's all right, I accept you. You're valid. I may be a stranger on the internet, but you're valid. I accept you.
I accept you. You're valid. You're no longer a stranger on the internet, but I do accept you. You are absolutely valid. Yeah. Yeah, and even if you don't believe and don't follow some of the stuff that's out there today, you don't have to be an asshole about it. You know? Right. You can be like, there are only two genders, but you know what? If someone wants to say that there's this other gender, fine. I will support them in that. It's just like, right. I'm friends with people who are religious, and I'm not religious. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
It's called being human.
Right. Having a little diversity in there.
Exactly. And just like I have religious friends that are friends with me, and you know what? They accept that I'm not religious. Imagine that.
Right.
And Missy threw out a couple more really good compliments out here, or comments. And Bexy is out for a minute. So Missy said, there are so many facets of sexuality, gender, and family relations about them, which is true. And then, I fucking accept you, see, for real, hearts. Followed by being humane while being human. Exactly. That's what I was struggling to say. Yeah, you don't have to agree on everything. You don't have to believe everything that someone else believes to still be a good person.
Right. It's just basic human decency.
Yeah, like, there's a topic I could say that could cause Kat to go, well, I'm out of here, and leave in an instant. I'm not going to. But we're still friends.
Right.
I'm waiting for her to say something in the chat. Differences are beautiful, is what Missy just said.
Definitely.
So, you come out as... Kat just did the little monocle...
Yeah, mystery face. Yes,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I think that was meant more as "Don't you dare." All right, so you come out as gay. Your family's like, yeah, and
yeah. So, that kind of happens. It didn't really change much. Internally, I was still pretty struggling, and that caused a lot of anxiety and
Did you feel any relief to your family's reaction of like, okay?
Yeah, I was very happy about the fact that, it could have been a lot worse,
Some kids get kicked out of their house. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And disowned,
Yeah.
They're supportive, and I'm happy about that.
Then some states take you to the fire station, drop you off. But this kid's a teenager. Law says
I don't
any
care.
age.
Have me in a basket too, like they do babies.
With a note, please take care of this kid. Oh God. You're in there with the basket with the rattle and a bottle. You're like, but I'm a fucking teenager.
Yeah. I'm gonna be 18 in a month. What are you doing?
I'll drink the bottle. I don't care.
Yeah. I just don't want the rattle.
Right.
But yeah, and around this time, I started talking to a long distance ex of mine. I would just say we weren't really good to each other. I told you before, we talked about it very briefly. Yeah, we weren't good to each other. Yep. I realized I pushed a lot of boundaries. I hurt her quite a few times. I made her worry about me quite a few times and this is just my experience, but dating when your mental health is bad, especially when it's on both parties, makes it incredibly, incredibly worse. And I think the thing that didn't help was we couldn't really talk it out properly. We could just talk about it through text, and through text, things can be misconstrued or taken the wrong way, or you word it poorly.
It's very hard to convey tone through text.
Yeah, there's no tone, there's no affliction, there's nothing. It's just text.
Right.
And you tend to put your own emotions on what they're saying.
Right. Right. And it didn't help either that she was closeted and her family was not very supportive. So even when we wanted to talk, we couldn't talk. You know, yeah. And we were on and off, going with each other, going back, off, until we just kind of decided, it's time to just not do this anymore, After I realized all the wrong that I did and how terrible of a partner and a friend I was to her, I apologized quite a few times, for not being the best for her and for, hurting her feelings, making her worry about me, when I didn't really want her to. Being I will say a little bit manipulative too. And that's only for her to really accept. I don't know if she has. I don't think I ever will, but I'm at peace with the fact that I've apologized to her and I want to better myself for the future. And she apologized to me too. And I messaged her last year around October, November. I wanted to check in on her and see how she was doing. She wasn't doing too well. Her situation wasn't that great. Her grandma was passing away. Her uncle was being a douche. Her unofficial partner hadn't been online for weeks. Still struggling through her depression and anxiety and things like that. And I told her that she's been on my mind and that I hope she's doing all right. I hope her situation gets better. I worded it very poorly. It kind of sounded like I wanted to date her again, but no. I care about her deeply still. I feel like I always kind of will, but I lost the attraction to her quite a bit ago, and it would also kind of clash with my gender and her sexuality, because last time we talked about that type of stuff, she said she was a lesbian, and I don't exactly want to be a woman or look like a woman. So,
yeah.
I wanted to try to be her friend again, just to give her more support, because I didn't want her struggling alone. But I came to realization later that day that I should probably just leave it alone for a while. And so I've been doing just that. She comes to mind and I wish her well, but that's been about it.
Missy's gonna make us cry.
Oh no.
Oh no. I still can't see the comments, so I'm sorry.
First thing was, this is so important. Thank you for sharing this, C. Empathic minefields. We're talking about when things are getting kind of crazy there. I said, this is why we have you as a co-host. And then Missy said, I am so impressed with the growth and boundaries. C is my spirit person.
Oh.
Aww,
and
so
said,
sweet.
I mean this truly. Yeah. I got a little bit... I started tearing up a little bit when I read that. So that C is... you are Missy's spirit person.
I'm glad I'm someone's spirit person. And I'm all right with being yours, Missy.
Yeah, no, I mean... This, definitely doing that whole thing of knowing where to draw the boundary with your ex is impressive. It is one of the hardest things to do, is to cut yourself off from someone that you truly care about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fucking hurts. Every time that they pop in your mind, it hurts.
It does.
But you're definitely doing the right thing. It's that whole, what does that say? It's like, don't sweat the things that you can't control. And that's one of them. And it was awesome that you recognized that. So many people struggle with that their entire lives. Hi, right. I'm E. Have we met?
No, I don't think we have before, stranger. Yeah, I'm glad I learned that lesson young so that whenever I do plan on dating around again, whenever that will be, hopefully I'll be a better version of myself for them, you know?
I mean, then that's all you can try to do is to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And the fact that you
Exactly.
recognize this so young, like seriously, the world is your oyster. I
Right.
mean it. It is yours for the taking, and you're doing such a fantastic job.
I mean, Missy,
You're reaching out when you need help. You truly listen. You take things into consideration. You don't just blindly obey and follow what someone else says, no matter how much older or what experience they have. You actually really do a good job of weighing it with your own personal life and your personal issues and your personal philosophy and adopting what fits, rejecting what doesn't. And I have seen so much growth in such a short time with you. It is astounding.
Missy just hit the nail on the head. She said, "C isn't even of legal age and already so far ahead of the curve." You just
You really are. And it's like, I know from your
you really
perspective,
are.
it's hard to see. And you may never see it. You may never truly see it. But from someone that's gone through a shitload of the emotional and mental stuff that you've been through, I even questioned my own sexuality at one point. To be able to look at where you're at versus where I was at the same time, holy crap, I bow down to you. You're kicking ass. I was a wreck.
You truly are just absolutely amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, and I think the funniest thing, not the funniest thing, but I find it interesting. I first started dating her when I thought I was a lesbian and she was bi. Well, later on, we both realized it, it was switched. I'm bi and she's a lesbian. It was very interesting. But yeah, she was and is an amazing person. I care about her still. And like I said, I think I kind of always will. She's just amazing, really.
That sounds like she needs to get to a better, healthier place. Because
Oh
otherwise
yeah.
it sounds like she starts dragging you down. And
Um,
ultimately got to be aware of number one.
at a point it kind of did get like that because I wanted to try to not push her, but like suggest like, hey, maybe like search around for a therapist, you know? She was, I believe, 2 years older than me. So she was an adult at the time. And I said, how about go look for a therapist? Maybe they could help you, you know? You could get some of it out. I mean, you're an adult now, and I'm sure you could at least find a way, maybe with some insurance, you know, certain insurances you have to go to just specific therapists. And I know it's really hard looking for one, but I was like, you know, maybe they could help you out. You know, maybe you could get some medication to help with your depression. She already had some for her anxiety. And she was like, oh, well, you know, I can't really do that. And yeah, I wanted to try to help her, but at a point I was trying to not fix myself, but I was trying to get better with my own mental health. And, you know, I did realize that it was kind of dragging me down. And yeah, we didn't really leave on a good note, but, you know, I'm still gonna care about her, you know? She was an amazing person. I'll always say that. She was
Feelings like that just don't disappear and
No.
dissipate.
right.
You might want to send her this episode. Honestly.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you really put it very well about what your intentions were with everything. It might help. Who knows? Again, I know that you will take that information and you'll use it to the best of your ability because that's just who you are and you're fucking awesome. So yeah, if you decide not to do it, I support you. I trust you 100% on that. But you know your situation better than I do.
Right.
And Misty was throwing out some more stuff, and so is Sarah.
Oh, what?
Oh. See if I can see this. Okay. Misty says, as a counselor and mentor, I'm in awe. As a friend, oh my God, so impressed and overwhelmed. She also said, it's so exhausting when you're trying to better yourself and get past any toxicity. And Sarah says, see, you are an impressive human being. I am just absolutely amazed at your self-awareness.
With a heart.
With a heart.
I would say, yeah, I mean, obviously at the time, I was like 14, 15, barely turning 16. And not even within a year, I realized my faults and my wrongs and what I didn't do right, you know? And so I apologized for that. And, you know, like you said, just gotta keep going, really.
Meanwhile,
when I was trying to improve yourself.
When I was 14, 15, and 16, I just wanted to see boobies.
That's
as far as I got. Changed. Well, there's more now. But I was pretty much singularly focused at that age. And I was just such a dork and just so awkward that, It wasn't until 17 when I finally figured it out.
Yeah.
And then I became a dad.
Must have been exciting. But yeah. And after that, I come out as bi to my mom. I'm sure she told everyone else because they kind of do that, you know? They kind of spread the information. But again, along with the sexuality was the gender, and it especially hit a head in 9th grade. I would say that's when the uncomfortable feelings that I would have towards my chest got worse. And it isn't easy to explain, but like I would get this shift in these uncomfortable feelings. Either they would be there for I don't know how many months, and then it would switch over to feeling nothing, like complete and utter apathy towards it. So it's either the uncomfortable feelings or the apathy. No in between, really.
Wow.
Sometimes you would get those comfortable feelings, like when I would cut my hair. No?
You'd shift your focus to a different part of your body.
Yes, or when I put on a flannel, especially baggier flannels, because it hid my chest and it hid my curves and it makes me look more like a guy. That's why I love wearing my flannels. They're my favorites. But
and yeah, not to sound too stereotypical about flannels and but no, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It really does. You know, and yeah, I get it. You're wearing hiding clothing. Probably like baggy shirts and baggy sweatshirts, hoodies.
Oh yeah. Back in like 7th grade, I started just wearing jackets constantly. I still do it to this day, where I'll just try to cover up and make sure that nothing's you can't really notice anything. But again, it all came to a head in 9th grade. That's when the questioning got worse. That's when the feelings got worse. I'll explain. I'll explain.
All right, whatever that was.
Yeah, that was my brother-in-law asking for shoes.
We really need to get Mark on with you. Like, seriously.
Yes. I'd actually love an episode with C, with Mark, and I'm working on getting my niece Kiara, who is trans but male to female.
Oh, I would love to meet her.
And I also have a friend whose son has gone from daughter to son.
You know,
and maybe get them on too.
I would absolutely love that. Nice. I think there would be a lot of really good information thrown out. I think that a lot of people would learn things, and I honestly think that Mark and C and my niece could all benefit from knowing each other.
Exactly. I mean, Mark is undergoing surgeries.
So amazing.
Yeah. I don't even know. Nice. I don't know Mark's dead name, and I don't want to. I don't care. It's Mark.
Right.
Like, I do, but they're Mark. I have never.
And I'm never gonna ask you for it. I don't care. I don't want to know.
Right. And I'm pretty sure.
Don't see me offering to throw it around. That's a dead name. I don't care about it any. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just. It's information I have filed, but it's like that's my friend Mark.
It's like I know
my friend Mark for years.
Like, see, I've seen your name.
Yep.
I don't even actually. Yeah, I don't actually remember it. To be honest, I know that what we call you is not your real name or your birth name, but your real name is your real name. The name that you're giving us, and you've even hinted you might change that again too. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
And man, are we getting flooded in the chat now? This is a lot of good stuff for you, see, coming through the chat.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Starts with Missy with "Thank you so much, C."
I am looking for that, and I don't.
Oh,
okay.
Nope. Actually, just before that,
C is destined for some really awesome shit, clearly. She also says, thank you so much, C, for being vulnerable and honest about this aspect of your self-discovery and identity. This can help so many people. She also said flannel, dear Lord.
It's such a running stereotype joke, but it makes sense. But it makes sense.
My dad got me into them.
Binders.
Oh yeah, Kat was asking, have you got any binders?
I do. I lost my first one because I misplaced it. Because I don't try to sleep with it on because you're not supposed to. So I switch before I go to sleep to like 2 layers of sports bras. Just for that, because one I feel isn't enough. I ended up misplacing it one night, and I couldn't remember because my memory is terrible. And I ended up getting another one, and I use that one pretty consistently, especially if I'm going to take a bath just for the fun of it, you know, not going in there to actually clean myself up. I'll wear it because I'll get in more into that very soon.
Wow, we are going no barriers here. We're talking about everything.
I will say this is one of the big ones that I was very nervous about. Actually, when you had asked me, E, what gender I was, it really shocked me because despite the name that I like to go by, it being very neutral.
Yeah.
I usually go what me and some other trans teenagers that I'm in a Discord call girl mode. It's girl mode. That's what I default to with new people. And so when you asked me that, I was like, oh my God. How the fuck did he know? I'm sure you remember my face.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you remember.
But I'll put it this way. The instant you came on camera was the instant I went, they're probably not straight.
Yeah.
You could just tell.
You could just tell. Yeah. It's just, you kind of exude it. And not in a bad way either.
No.
And I understood you were trying to go girl mode. I understood that you're trying to go girl mode, but I was like, wow, this act. This is not the greatest act. But it's like, you know what? Until we get to know each other better, I'm just going to roll with it because maybe it's not an act. Maybe I'm misperceiving things. And eventually it got to the point, it's like, you know what? I got to ask now because I'm like 99% sure. And you were floored.
I was. I really was.
I remember getting a text from E and saying, so, I finally got around to asking C what their pronouns were. And I was like, oh, okay, this is great. This is information. It was just like I'm glad you did, because I was getting to the point where I was like, okay, I really don't want to keep referring to them as, a gender that makes them uncomfortable, when that's not how they feel. It was just, yeah.
Plus, you could see when we would refer to you as her, she, we could see it in your eyes. That's why I was like, you know what? We got to get this taken care of now because you deserve to be comfortable, especially as a co-host on this podcast. You deserve to be comfortable.
Definitely.
You deserve to be comfortable in life in general, but especially here, this is supposed to be a safe space for you.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, it's
I appreciate that.
I think one of the unlearned lessons that a lot of people don't look for in Harry Potter, and I mean, is that nobody should have to live their life in the closet.
Right.
Exactly.
Nobody should have to do that.
And there's still a bunch of good, oh my Lord. This chat is going awesome.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sarah said, my daughter has a good friend who transitioned from male to female in high school. And when we were talking about names and things like that, Missy said it doesn't matter. You are who you are.
With you in capitals.
Exactly. Yes, with you in capitals. And Sarah agrees 100%, Missy. And that is where mine stopped. Okay, here we go. Kat says, I follow a female to male individual on Twitter. He's taking tea and has posted about getting new/good binders and what a difference they made. He works very hard, has goats and sheep, etc.
Oh, I love that.
And then there's Mark, who went, you know what? I don't want binders anymore.
Yeah.
Mark come back. We miss you.
Yes.
I hope you're listening.
I don't know if they are, but you know what? I'm about to message Mark.
I've messaged a couple times, but I didn't really get a reply, so maybe you might. You two were closer.
Yeah. Mark is my buddy. That's my dude. Just an absolutely amazing human.
I bet he is.
He really is.
Can't wait to meet him one day.
And like you and me and Bexy, absolutely savage sense of humor.
Oh, I can't wait.
Like the dark humor that we don't put on the air.
Yes, right.
And I bet some people listening go, man, you guys have gotten dark on the air. Yeah, no, that was shady. That wasn't dark.
Yes.
So, you're going to go further about everything here.
The uncomfortable feelings. Mainly, it was in my chest. That's the main area where it was. It got so bad that I even considered self-harming on them. I've considered quite a few weird places to self-harm, including my own face, because, those Glasgow smiles? Well, I figured it wouldn't really matter if I was dead. Obviously, I didn't do it. Obviously, I'm not dead either, so... But, yeah, I really considered self-harming on them because it just didn't feel right. It would just be immensely uncomfortable to be called a girl, a daughter, my birth name. And it was around this time where I just started thinking about a name, like a different name. And one popped into my head and I really, really liked it. Like, I don't know why, but it just kind of stuck with me. And so the first person I come out to was, bless his heart, my Spanish teacher, my Spanish 1 teacher.
Wow.
I
That is
approached
awesome.
him. Yes, I approached him after class and said, "Hey, can you call me SL?" He said, "Oh, well, I have a son called SL, so can I just call you C?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that's how my neutral name stuck. It's been that name ever since.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so I started slowly asking my teachers, "Hey, can you call me, C and they, them, or he, him, whatever." And around this time when I was starting to get comfortable with myself, the self-doubt started.
Of
The
course.
self-doubt.
Of course.
Because
Let me
the
guess.
uncomfortable,
Let me guess. It's do I really want to do this?
it was mostly of, is this really me? Like, am I actually bright? Am I wrong? I don't want to be wrong. Am I faking it? Is this just for attention? All those crazy things your mind tells you.
I mean, all those things that you've heard other people say too. They come flying through your mind going, is this really the case? Is this really the case? Is this really the case?
Right.
Nope, never been there. Not down the road that you've been down, but, yeah.
Right.
Missy just has a really good comment because she says, they go hand in hand. We figure out who we are and then we question ourselves.
Yes.
Now she said,
yes.
Did that feel like a rebirth for you?
Yes.
In a way, it did. It felt very comfortable. For the first time in a while, I actually felt happy, genuinely happy with how I looked and how I was perceived. That's not something I can say very much. So those uncomfortable feelings, again, like I said, they'd fluctuated and they went to the apathy, where, I would just kind of, for example, before I take a bath, we have mirrors in my mom's bathroom, and that's the main bathroom I use because they have a really good tub. It has a lot of room. I just enjoy it.
Get to sprawl out.
Yes.
You and your short self.
Yes,
I don't know what it feels like anymore. I've been tall for so long now that's like, I hate bathtubs because I feel cramped. I even hate most showers because the shower head's too fucking low.
I'm thankful I'm still short enough to be comfortable in a bath because I absolutely love them. What I want eventually is one of those huge bathtubs where like every part of you except for your head can be underwater and submerged like bubbles and stuff.
I basically need to get a hot tub, put it indoors, and turn it into a bathtub.
Yes.
And of course, then when I want more bubbles, I pour the bubbles and then just turn on the jets.
It's just like,
the jets are not your butt, right?
I don't
understand.
Sorry,
I had to.
I don't understand.
That's not.
They are the same thing, right? No, I don't want to melt the bottom of the hot tub.
I did manage to get a hold of Mark, and they may be popping in the chat soon.
Yay!
Oh.
They told me. I mean, well, he told me that he isn't in the headspace to like talk and be on an episode right now, but they wouldn't mind being in the chat. So
awesome!
Oh, yay!
So I hope they pop in. I sent them a link to the episode and everything.
Yeah, and if you ever want to do an episode where it's just like you guys really just shoot the shit, if you guys want to do it as an episode, great. Otherwise, just get you guys information so you guys can chat offline.
Right.
Because I'm sure that would be very beneficial for you. We don't have to make it a public spectacle.
Oh, right. Exactly. I am sure that...
I mean, obviously we want to know, but,
I'm sure that Mark, if you wanted to talk to him, personally, would add you on Facebook and be more than willing to, chill and talk if you ever wanted to.
Mark is an awesome person.
Definitely.
Bet he is. I really bet he is.
What's funny is that we even had an episode with Mark's ex from before they became Mark. And it was great, actually. They're still, like, really good friends.
It's amazing.
Aww,
it really is amazing.
Wonderful.
And, of course, as a reminder, Mark is the one about the skin babies.
Yes.
Yay! Mark's here!
Hi, Mark!
Hi, Mark! Oh, I love my Mark.
What?
Yeah, it was just in the chat. It was like, Mark shows up, and it was like, sorry, here, Missy. Hi, Mark. Mark is the man. Mark, we were talking about the ex, like, you spoke to Justin? Yes, we did. And then, of course, Kat, we need to know the episode ahead of time if they do an episode so we can have our popcorn ready. Like, seriously, if you guys wanted to do it as an episode, it's like, looking at it from a podcast perspective, that would be amazing. But I also understand it's very sensitive, it's very personal, and one or both of you may not be comfortable with doing it as an episode, and that is absolutely fine. We want you guys to be comfortable more than anything.
Right.
But dear God, it'd be a great episode. I have to look at it that perspective too.
I'd be fine with it. I'm pretty open. Even if I am nervous, I am open.
I love that my niece is the same way about it. They have, she's always said, if you have questions, instead of, wondering or talking to someone else about it, just come talk to me and ask me. I won't get offended. I would rather you have the information straight from me than, getting it from secondhand sources that may not know all the facts.
You mean something
Right.
like the if it exists, a wiki gender? I think
wiki just on gender.
I think there is, because I've seen some genders that I've just made me go, huh? And I don't mean to slam on them. It's just I don't get it. Like aqua gender, your gender changes based on the body of water that you're next to, whether it's a glass of water, a running tap, a bathtub, swimming pool, lake, river, whatever, rain puddles. I don't get it. I would love to talk to someone about it. I would love to get a better understanding of it, and I promise I'm not going to poke fun at it. Unless you're making jokes too, then I'll join in. but seriously, I would. There's a lot out there. I want to know more. I want to understand.
Right. I'm the same way with it. I want to know. I would love if somebody shared this episode with somebody, and we had people reach out and say, "Hey, I'd like to come talk to you about, the way that I feel about my gender and how everything like that." It's just I think the more information we can put out, the better.
Exactly.
Right.
And even things that a lot of people would mock.
Truly missed Mark when you have skin babies named Jeffrey.
Yep. And like I said, things that tend to get made fun of and mocked heavily, like I'm sure Aquagender gets mocked and made fun of heavily.
Right.
Come on the show. Let us know. Let us understand. Give us something to work with. Communication is that bridge to understanding and helps to get rid of that mockery.
Right.
This is a safe place for you. And I'm sure that our chat room would be loaded with questions. Because I'm loaded with questions. Yeah, now we have people going on a Google spree. Looking that up now. Yeah, and even Mark, I would definitely love to hear more about the full spectrum of gender. Agreed. 100%.
Yes. Me too.
Definitely.
Like I said, the more informed we can make, ourselves, our listeners, our audience, and, put it out there for the people in the world, that's, getting people to comprehend and understand is going to go a long way to minimizing all the stigma around everything.
Right. Definitely. I agree.
Alrighty, so anything you want to say?
Yeah.
You actually have the ability now to ask questions of Mark if you want. You can keep telling your story, however you want to go about this. You have options.
I'll just continue, I suppose. So it was about taking a bath.
And the mirror's in your mom's bathroom.
Yeah, whenever I would look in the mirror, and specifically when I saw my chest, it just didn't look right. Just something looked off. I didn't really know what it was, but just something didn't look right. It made me feel a little weird. Even looking down at my body, it was like, oh yeah, that's mine. Doesn't feel like mine, but it's mine.
Right.
And so, those emotions would come up, and then the questioning would come, like, am I just faking this? Am I lying to myself? Am I subconsciously trying to trick myself into thinking this way or feeling this way? And then the uncomfortable feelings would come back. But this time with my chest, at the time I was trying to grow out my hair to see if I liked presenting as a girl with just short hair. I was uncomfortable with my voice, with my face. It's just whenever I looked into the mirror, my body didn't look like mine. It didn't feel like me. It didn't look like me.
So basically like alien body syndrome.
Basically, it's like I look in...
I think it would be qualified under like body dysphoria or body dysmorphia, maybe. I mean, I know that there's a difference between the two, and that's something that I'm actually like gender dysphoria is that is, it can cause you to be discomfort and anxiety and depression, where you look at your body and you think, this is not how my body should be. And like dysmorphia, which is something that a lot of people struggle with, is where you look at your body and you see it one way but it really looks another. Like I struggle with that a little bit because of having been really, really, really a lot bigger than I am now. And I still think my body is that big sometimes. And then I realize when I can put on clothes 2 sizes smaller that it's not. But,
right.
It almost seems like a disassociation from your body.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because it would happen pretty often, like to the point where I kind of avoided looking in mirrors, especially when I was growing out my hair, just because I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I just couldn't. I couldn't, and I didn't want to.
And Mark was saying, I thought the same thing, to the point where I thought it was normal to be confused.
Really?
Yeah. I could hear the relief in your voice on that one. Not only did I see it on your face, you could hear it.
You can hear it, that, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one sigh.
Yeah.
And Missy was saying, this is something many people in many situations can relate to and understand. Bexy about her size, for example.
Right. Definitely. Even if it's, different circumstances, you can still relate,
Right. Well, like I said multiple times in the past, and I'll say it again, your circumstances may be completely 100% unique to you in all of human history, but there's only so many feelings that you can feel, and that's where we can relate.
Right.
I may not have experienced exactly what you experienced, but I might have experienced something similar enough to where I understand how you feel.
Right. Right. yeah, I was growing out my hair, and this was like the first out of 3 times I grew out my hair because of self-doubt. And I found I was really uncomfortable, and so I really wanted to cut my hair again. So I did. And I
And
felt
your hair
better. I
looks
felt
fucking
much.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
it
love
really
it this
does.
short. But I felt really happy. I could actually look in the mirror and smile at myself. It felt more like me in a way. Like it was my actual face, my actual body. Uh, it was me. It was me. And the feelings came again, the uncomfortable feelings in my chest, and a little bit for the bottom. I don't really get as many uncomfortable feelings down there. Sometimes I pretend to have a dick, but that's about it. I mean, I've thought about getting a packer, but yeah.
I mean, not to brag, but having a dick's pretty awesome. Anyway,
I'm sure the chat's gonna blow up over that.
Yeah,
we'll find out. It's starting to roll in. We already got the LOL.
um, I had somewhat come out to my family at this time. Um, Not really. I mostly just they bought me boys' clothes anyway, just because those were the clothes that I liked. Um, so they're they're unintentionally helping me in that way. Um, Even when I did come out later, they still got me, you know, clothes that affirm my gender, things like that. But um, when hold on, they were confused to say the least because they don't really know anything about gender. They got it quite mixed up with sexuality. So they didn't really understand. All I could really explain was that I felt uncomfortable with my chest to the point where I didn't want them anymore. I would joke about just cutting them off. I would joke with my trans girlfriends that I wish I could just switch bodies with them, give them my chest in exchange for them having a chest, you know? And I didn't know this at first, but my brother and his family, they weren't really kind about it. They weren't really kind about it. Um, my nephew, he's only a couple years younger than me. He's my bro. He's my rock. I can tell him anything and everything, and he can do the same exact thing for me. Well, one day we were sitting out in the garage smoking together, and I was telling him about my gender and how confusing it was, and how I just wanted to figure myself out. I just wanted to be happy with myself. Um, and he told me that my brother and his wife talked behind my back, saying that I was just doing it for attention. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. I'm an introvert. I don't like attention. I get very embarrassed with attention, no matter the amount, really. So that kind of made me confused. And at first, my nephew, I didn't really talk to him about anything regarding my gender. So at first, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty fucked up. That I would be doing that for attention." But when I explained it to him, he understood. He was like, "No, you're just trying to figure yourself out. You're just trying to be happy, really." And he tried to explain that to them, and they backtracked and said, no, we didn't say that. No.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that knife that you put in my back? Thanks for twisting the blade.
I know, right? Thanks, brother. I kind of had a falling out with that side of the family, specifically just my brother. I was never really close with him, but I could say, while he's my brother, I don't really care much about him. We don't have a bond, and he left us at a very bad time. He just kind of up and abandoned us. It was around when my sister had passed, just a couple weeks after they moved and left our state. But that's a whole different thing. So yeah, around school, I was getting people to call me C, and my friends, the teachers, everybody, they were doing it. And I was happy about that. But at home, I would go into girl mode because I kind of had to. They knew that I was questioning and that I was confused and that I didn't think I wanted to be a girl, really. I told them quite a few times I wanted to be a boy. But they would still call me she, their daughter, her, their sister, things like that. And it was upsetting because it hurt. It's like, I don't want to be your daughter. I want to be your child. I want to be your son. Your sibling. I just want to be your sibling. I don't want to be your sister. And around this time, they had said, a couple of them had said some pretty insensitive things.
And it's fucked up when you're more comfortable at school than at your own home.
Yeah. They were just very bad at trying to make the change because they've been calling me a she and a her and by my birth name even before I was born. But it hurt because it's like, man, I wish I could just butt in and correct you guys. Because I would say it in my head. I would correct them in my head, but I couldn't say it out loud because it just felt too awkward, too nervous, too embarrassed, too. And so,
is it any better now?
They're trying their best, but they're still not that good, to be honest. They slip up quite a bit. I've gotten better with correcting them, butting in, saying he or they, or child or son, things like that. But
good. It sounds like you're finding hate to say it, but you're finding your spine to stand up against your own family. Standing up against family is one of the hardest things to do ever.
It takes a lot.
It took. I didn't start confronting my dad truly until I was in my 30s. So
I was in my 30s before I could finally snap back and be like, no, to my family, you don't get to treat me this way. So we get it. The fact that you are as young as you are and you're able to do that, man, you just blow me away.
Exactly. And we have a lot of comments. So.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Mark,
I'm going to.
Yeah, Mark said, I have a good site for Packers I can link you, as well as STPs.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, and I was like, go for it. And then the conversation got about boobs. about Missy liking her boobs and Bexy being murdered by her boobs. Yeah. And then me just being
Mark leaving
disgusting.
their boobs back in Michigan.
Yep.
Yes.
And then I was talking about the spray attachments, when you need to go pee and there's not a convenient restroom. And I was like, I've seen those. I know what you're talking about. I finally looked it up. I was like, I bet they're probably great for camping. That'd be my thought. That way you're going against a tree instead of all over your panties.
Yeah, good for traveling, too.
Yeah.
Just stop at the side of the road.
Missy said, I love the way C is letting us into the physical, mental, and emotional journey. I have never had someone share this. And Kat agreed and said, me too, Missy. It's really great to hear. And when you were talking about your family not being the most accepting, Missy said, oh, C. And Kat says, oh.
And Mark
says, rude. Missy says, that's some bullshit. I don't get people acting that way at all. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You should be able to be who you really are and not be forced to deal with their struggle with it.
And Kat, they were really ignoring your feelings and wishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stand up, C. You're doing great. Hearts. Then
Yes.
Mark dropped the bomb.
Yes. One thing I've learned over the past few years with my family is that my transition was theirs as well. They would misgender me and use my dead name, but saw my face and immediately apologized. Sometimes you need to stand up for the man you're becoming and let them know who you are.
And R capitalized. A-R-E. All
Yes.
Just boom. If it could be bold, it would be bold.
Yes.
I'm sure.
I've definitely
Pat
been
says,
trying
good,
my best.
stand up for yourself.
And then Mark was asking, came to this late, but are you on T?
No. I have a referral to a gender specialist. It's going to be going 5 weeks now. They said it'll take about 4 to 6. So once that happens, I'll talk to them about it a bit. Mostly right now, all I want is to just stop the periods, because those are the things that cause me the most agony, really.
And I'm sure emotional, not just physical.
Yeah, and mentally, it not only because those are just quite taxing, but also because it just makes me uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, you're basically,
imagine
for lack of a better way of putting it, you're wired as a dude.
Yes.
Dudes don't do that.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I was about to say, is that I cannot imagine, being in a body that feels wrong and you feel like a guy, like a man, and then you're having all of these things that happen to women, and it's just like, no. Mark said that the T will do that. Missy says it's hard to be who you are when you have functions that don't match.
Yeah.
And Mark said, mine took about 4 weeks to completely stop, and it's been the best thing ever.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
But I mean, we've had conversations about how, and I understand that there's a little bit of hesitancy about going on T because you're still pretty young. Your frontal lobe's not developed yet, and you're fully aware of this, and you know that that's a pretty important function of the mind.
Yes.
To have that, because your planning gets better. And we know that T can and will nuke any chance of reproducing. And I understand the hesitancy of going onto it. Maybe birth control might be the right answer for now. Maybe T's the right answer. You know what? That's between you and your gender specialist.
Right? Or hormone blockers.
Yeah.
I go to a LGBT group, and we have a couple trans people, another trans guy. And we talked a bit about that, and he said once he went on hormone blockers, it stopped it, and that it was the best experience he's ever had. And I said, oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait. I
absolutely love that you have a group that you can go to for that kind of support and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, your I can't wait is about no more periods. My I can't wait skydiving. Hey, to each their own. No, but seriously, I can understand, that, even though I don't have that, I don't have body dysmorphia or anything like that. I can fully understand that, oh my God, this has got to be the greatest thing ever. Because I can only put myself in your shoes and go, my God, I couldn't imagine how awful I would feel every month being reminded that your body is not what you want your body to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's a kick in the nuts. And I'm sure that, maybe one day you'll understand exactly what that feels like. There's surgeries for that. And if they put all the same nerves down there, oh, dear God.
Gotta protect it. Wear a jock strap at all times.
Protect balls!
And Missy did say very well, they're being informed on all your options will definitely help you, and yay for support. And Mark said, I'm still listening, but I got to step away from chat for a sec.
That's all right. But yeah, I want to be 1,000% sure before I want to medically transition. Right now it's just socially, and I'm fine with that. But I want to kind of wait for a bit because I want to make, like I said, 1,000% sure that that is the road I want to go down. You know, look at all the pros on the cons, all the changes that it will make to my body, things like that. Me and Mom, quite recently, we were driving back from the DMV because we finally got my ID because I'm gonna need it next month. But we were driving back home and we came up on the topic of transitioning. And I told her I want to be 1,000% sure. And she said, yes, I want you to be 1,000% sure too. And we just kind of reinforced that. And she was like, what's the gender specialist for? It's like, oh, you know, they're going to kind of help me with the questioning part. You know, I get to ask them some questions about transition, you know, if I want to go down that road. But mostly it's just to kind of help me, really. It's someone who is a specialist in gender.
Right.
It's not a regular therapist. But yeah, when I wasn't completely out, they had said some kind of insensitive things. You know, they're supportive still, but kind of some insensitive things. Like, for example, I was sitting on the couch and my sister saw, I think it was a picture or an article about a non-binary teenager coming out, and their family threw them a quote-unquote gender reveal party because they said they got it wrong, you know? I thought, oh man, that's really sweet. And my sister said, yeah, but how do they know? And this person was my age, so 17. They're like, yeah, how did they know at that age? And I just
probably because it's been on their minds since for fucking ever.
Yeah. I just stayed silent. I didn't really know what to say. I was just like, yeah, totally.
You know, I'm sitting right here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As you know what, and that's great that they threw a gender reveal party. As long as they don't set fire to the state, like, you know,
yeah,
seems to be happening more often.
Yeah. Now all of California knows it's a boy.
Like that meme, it's like, oh, you're from California. It shows a beach. It's like, no, I'm from California. It's just like force fire. Everything's glowing
fires,
embers.
Yes. I said it before. We need to be called the Fireball State.
We do. We really do. Or carbon belching state, because Jesus.
That too.
And Missy actually made a very amazing point about, you know, when it's your time of the month. It's like your body is reinforcing others misgendering or using a dead name. It's like your body is being a traitor.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is people who are not in your situation trying to wrap our heads around it.
Right. It is basically my number one enemy each and every month. And I hate taking pills, but I have seriously considered taking a pill to just stop it. And I don't think my family knows how much it really affects me. They've seen, especially my mom, because she's my number one, you know. She might not understand, but she supports me, you know. And I'm happy about that. But oh my God, what was I just saying?
You're talking about how your body is your period's like your number one enemy.
Yeah. I would get extremely depressed. I'd said it later, before, but I would get extremely depressed it would, it just, it was very dark time. And I think I hated it the most because, you know, especially my chest, it would get very sensitive. So kind of no matter what you did, you would just kind of feel it. So I'd be aware of it, and I didn't really like that. It just wasn't nice. But they have definitely seen how bad it can be. I just kind of wish they would kind of help me with that in some way, just in some way. Um, there was this one time, this was when I was more out to my family, at least my household. They're the ones that really knew the most. People outside our household don't really know unless they're my cousins or my nephew or whatever. And there was this one dream, and I want to share this because this was very, very nice. It was good. Um, I remember, I don't usually remember my dreams, so I had written this one down right after I woken up. But I was in the car and someone was driving me, just driving me. And I looked out the window and there was these huge blue banners that had like he, they on them. And I had my short hair, I had my flannel on, and I was just looking out the window as it kind of blew in the breeze. And it cut to me and my family, my household and other people, uh, just all smiling and hugging each other. We're laughing and crying because we're just so happy. I looked very happy. And I woke up and I was like, wow, that felt so nice. That felt really nice. And then of course later the self-doubt comes and says, "Oh no, it's your subconscious trying to trick you, man. It's just lying to you." I don't know what to tell you, dude.
And
Yeah.
Mark put in some really good information for you. If Bexy wants to read it.
I actually can't see it.
All right. Mark was saying there are two types of ways to take tea, as I've been told. There's a gel, which is slower acting but has a more steady balance, whereas the injection gives you a good boost that slowly smooths out the closer you get to your next injection date. For me, the needle works best because I need to see the changes as soon but safe as possible. I'll eventually go to the gel, but many years down the road. And the cat was reflected back on the period thing about as horrible as each month was for me. I can't imagine having my body being a gender traitor every single month. And I think as for a guy, the closest analogy that I could have would be every time you have a boner would be the closest thing I could think of as an analogy.
Right. Talking about that, it actually reminds me of some younger memories. As a kid, I remember it was first when puberty first started. I noticed my chest wasn't as flat anymore, and I was scared. I thought I had cancer. I'm not lying.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I laughed. It's just that's the last place I thought you were going to go.
I did. I went to my mom and I started crying. I was like, "Why does my chest look like this?" It was puberty. I remember there was this shirt that I used to wear. It had Tweety on it. Well, it got a little too small for me, and I was outside wearing it. And my cousin had pointed out that it showed my curves that were coming in. And I looked at my shadow and I saw that and I was like, oh no. I quickly changed and put on something else that was baggy. Put on my jackets, things like that. Just something to hide it. Looking back on those now, I find it a little funny in a way. Just kind of like, oh yeah, that might have been an early sign, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit.
Man, meanwhile, I remember getting grounded when my sister had her first period.
Oh.
She woke up screaming for mom because she had no idea what was going on. And they went in the bathroom and took care of it. And the last thing she was saying is, please don't tell E. Please don't tell E. And I was pretending to be asleep. And so go out and start watching Saturday morning cartoons. I'm 3.5 years older than her. And she goes walking by, and I could hear the pad. And I just said to her, "Giddy up, cotton pony." My dad is all, "Yeah!" I'm like, "I'm going to my room. I'm grounded. I know."
Oh no.
Oh man, yeah. I was the asshole, big brother. But no, I mean, there's a whole subreddit dedicated to kids are fucking stupid, and it's true.
Oh yeah, they are. I know. I know kids are.
They're amazing. The best thing I've ever saw for kids was in a Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin was explaining how gravity acts more like a mattress in space, and the heavier the object, the bigger, the more it pushes down on the mattress, causing more things to get pulled towards it. Oh, and by the way, I spilled all the Kool-Aid when I tried pouring myself a glass while wearing roller skates. And it's like, kids could be the smartest and stupidest people on earth, and you want to both hug and strangle them at the same time.
Yeah. Physically how it is.
And I got yelled at for what I said to... Yeah, I got yelled at by Missy for what I said to my sister. I totally fucking deserved it, okay? I know I did. I would never do that now. I mean, when I was a punk teenager. And then Kat was asking if there's no longer sex education in school anymore.
There is. I've had it since 4th grade. The last time I had it was in 9th grade. They taught us more stuff than they actually taught me throughout almost all the years of other puberty ed, like how conception actually happens and where it happens and how that process does stuff. It didn't really help that they split it between boys and girls, like the class to ask questions.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of awkwardly sitting there like, yes. Let me submit some questions for the boys and let me submit some questions for the girls.
But I don't really belong here. At the same time, I don't have the same issues that guys will have, like wet dreams and erections and
Owners.
Yeah.
That reminds me of an episode of Daria that I watched where they're like, oh, and now they're going to put all the girls in one room and all the guys in the other, and they're going to talk to us about body image. And somebody's like, well, what are they talking to the guys about? And Daria just looks at her friend, a room full of guys, and the gym teacher, nocturnal emissions.
Yep. From my experience, when I was in school, they started doing that. It was trying to really carefully explain about the hormonal changes in guys and their testicles dropping and voices changing, facial hair, pubes growing, and erections and all that, while not getting all the guys to start giggling and laughing like crazy because, we're a bunch of boys.
Yes.
And then start talking about how to put a condom on, and they break out like the zucchini or the cucumber.
The banana. Oh my God, the banana.
Just like, and then they start talking about a little bit about what the females go through, and I mean, we all became like a class of Beavis and Butthead. It's just, just constantly laughing about everything. And then teachers just getting so frustrated because we wouldn't stop laughing.
I mean, can you really do in a class full of boys?
Like the one episode when Butthead had his jaws wired shut, and the gym teacher's like, we're going to be talking about sexual education. So this is the one time that Butthead I know you want to say sexual intercourse. And he couldn't say it. He's like, sexual intercourse. Like, say it, you maggot. This is your one chance. You better take it. Sexual intercourse. Just one of the greatest episodes ever. Another one is when they were grounded from laughing in school. They were told, you laugh at school again and you're going to be suspended. And that was also sex head. We're going to be talking about the penis and the vagina. And we will most definitely be talking about masturbation and sexual intercourse. And then after the class gets out, they both just go running outside and just laugh endlessly because they had it all held in.
That's basically how it is, though. I mean, basically, that's how it That's how I heard it happen with the boys' classes. The 9th grade one, though, they kept us together. So, you know, I'm glad about that.
Cool. That way you could ask the right questions, like the questions that apply to you, and get answers.
Right. Definitely. And, there was this, again, with the self-doubt, growing out my hair again, just recently. I told you guys this before, and I said it briefly in an episode before too, but while I was growing out my hair, it wasn't uncomfortable with my chest this time, it was my face. I don't know why, but it just kind of made it look rounder, a little bit more pudgier, a little bit more, I guess you could say, feminine. And again, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. It didn't look like me. It didn't look like my face. I knew it was me, but it didn't look like me. And so it made me uncomfortable. The only time I would ever go and look in the mirror was before baths to look at myself and think, wow, you know, this doesn't look right. Or to pick my face. Those are the only times.
I will say, even if you start T and you start getting facial hair, until you get older, you're going to have that baby face that comes with just being young. And you're just going to you're going to have that round baby face with hair. Kind of like what my face looks like.
Some people never lose their... I was going to say, I've seen E clean shaven. He has baby face big time.
If I lose some weight, it won't be as bad. It's just that I carry a little bit of weight in my face, too. But Mark made
That's
a
not a
valid...
face.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Mark made a great point. Said, a good comeback, I've had in my ammunition box. When someone misgendered me and said, you have no balls, you ain't a dude, I'd always tell them, I have balls, they're just on the inside. They never know how to respond to it. And it's true.
That is wonderful.
When you look at the biology of it all, ovaries and testicles, they're the same organ, just different hormones trigger different changes in them.
Right.
They both create sperm. They both create reproductive cells. That's what they do.
Right.
So I guess they just put your ovaries in a fat sack, so that way when you get kicked there, it hurts. I don't know. Like I'm spitballing here. I really don't know. If they do that during the surgery, I'm sorry, because wow. If I didn't need mine anymore, and I was taking hormonal therapy like T, yeah, I'd get rid of the nuts. They hurt too much. They're too easy to get injured.
I bet.
Yeah, it's like a kid comes up all scared about something or sad and wants to get a big hug. It's like, oh, come here, knee. Ah, God. And it's not even like a knee.
My brother-in-law.
It's not even a knee directly in. It's the knee pressing down. Just smash.
Right.
Oh, God. No, just no. So, Mark, do you have an answer to that? Like, when they do the surgery down there, and I know that they could give you a penis, do they put the ovaries into a sack down there, and are all the nerves still attached? Because, fucking hell. I mean, you'll know what it's like to be a guy if you ever get kicked.
Yeah. I don't think they do it with the ovaries, but...
And Missy was just saying being kicked in the vajayjay. Why did you use that? Isn't fun either. No, I know. It's sensitive too. Pretty much all the nerves that are in a dick are in your clit, and if that gets kicked, fuck.
Right.
So maybe so you're saying that you don't think that they do put the ovaries down there?
I don't think so. I'd have to look into it more, but I'm pretty sure they don't put the ovaries in there. I believe they use extra tissue. I just don't know which ones.
Well, looks like Mark might be answering. You just got a so, period. That usually means there's more coming. And while we're waiting for that, thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad that you wanted another episode and were able to get this out. And I'm hoping...
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that goes, if I hadn't asked you about your pronouns, this episode may have been delayed even further. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
Probably would have, because I would stay in girl mode. Just going by the seat of my pants, really.
And I don't mean this in a rude way, but you're terrible at girl mode. That's actually a compliment, I think.
I take that as a compliment. That's fine. I'm
Perfect.
Fine with that.
Yeah, because you were terrible at girl mode.
It's a mode I have to go into quite often, because sadly, my birth name isn't quite dead quite yet. But, I realize that takes time. But, ever since I got my hair cut, though, I was able to actually look at my face in the mirror. I can actually look at my face during these podcasts, while before I would have avoided it and just stared at you guys or the guests. Right. Just creepily staring at you guys the entire time. Uh-huh. Yeah, basically.
And they're like, if I talk, my face shows up, so I'm not going to talk.
Yeah.
So, I did a little Googling.
And Mark just popped off, too, with it. They don't add the ovaries for the balls. They add extra tissue or just prosthetic balls, in quotes. The ovaries are usually removed in a separate surgery, hysterectomy.
Yes.
Yep.
And then Kat was complimenting you on... first Missy said, thank you, C. This has been so enlightening and empowering, Kat. And feel comfortable talking with us. I'm very glad about that. And Missy, I didn't fucking sense girl off you at all, C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not there.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, we could try to doll you up and throw you in a dress, and it would just be like, no, you just threw a dude into a dress and tried to doll them up. It'd be like my Halloween pictures from some years ago. It doesn't work.
Something I will say, though, is my brother-in-law, he is really good with the pronouns and things like that. He was one of the first people ever to call me C and call me a gentleman. He was like, thank you, kind gentleman. I was like, oh.
I love that.
Oh. And he continues doing stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty open with him about it. He said, do whatever you want with your life. And I remember we were getting pizza for the family. And with a mask on and out in public, I look like a really short dude, right? I just do. Even without a mask on, I look pretty guy-like, I would say. But we went to go get some pizza, and the guy says, hello, sir, what do you want? And I was like, I want some, I think I said like 6 pizza slices because we need to feed my niece, and I wanted 2 for myself. And I wait, and he says, here you go, ma'am, when I come back. I'm like, oh, God.
You had it right the first time, asshole.
Yeah, and so once me and my brother-in-law got our food, I looked at him and I was like, do I really look like a guy? He said, yeah, you do. He was like, but your voice doesn't really sound like a guy's. He said, it's not that deep and it's not that shrill. It's in the middle, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But when you're at a customer service side of things, you really are trying to put the best foot forward and do the best they can. May not have
Right.
realized that you wanted to be addressed as a guy.
That's all right, But it was like, got it right. We were this close to greatness.
No,
we were this close.
Yeah, I just see the Star Wars reference right there.
But he's really good with complimenting me on that stuff. He was like, before that, he was like, you really look like a guy. He was like, is that a compliment to you? I was like, yes, that's a compliment to me. He calls me bro, he calls me dude, he calls me C. No, he's just overall pretty good with that type of stuff. It's really nice to have that. And like I said, my family is supportive, Again, they could have kicked me out, they could have disowned me. They could not be trying and just blatantly ignore my requests to call me C or by he, they, or whatever,
Right.
They get me the clothes that I want to wear, but, they're just not really good at it. And I want to try to suggest to them, because I've tried suggesting, like, hey, maybe you should try, like, because someone had suggested it to me from the LGBT group, like, maybe write it down, just write it over and over and over again. Or something that I want to suggest to her is maybe she can find a group for other LGBT teens and their parents, so she could be with other parents that are in a similar situation, and maybe she could get help there. Like I said, I do correct them as much as I can, but quite a few times I just say it in my head, really. Like, I don't have the fight to kind of correct them. Luckily, it's not all the time, because they're still not the best at it, but they catch themselves and say, sorry. It's like, that's fine. But one thing that really got under my skin one day, because again, periods, I get very, very, very agitated very easily. And I went on a walk because I was feeling pretty agitated. And during that walk, I got really frustrated with my family. Just for the sole purpose of, they say sorry about it, but if they really meant it, they would try to correct themselves more,
Right.
It was just really frustration. I don't feel it quite often because I'm quite understanding about it. I'm quite patient,
I mean,
I try to help him as best I can, but I get sick and tired of it sometimes. I just repeat she, her, daughter, sister, whatever, over and over and over in my head. I remember, again, I was out to my family and we were talking about my sister, my oldest sister. She was talking about me and our deceased sister, and she said, I'll always have two sisters. It's like, oh.
Ouch.
Ouch.
It was just like, that hurt. Because it's like, man, I don't want to be your sister. I want to be your sibling. I want to be your younger brother, bro. I don't want to be your sister. I don't want to.
And you shouldn't have to.
No.
I also think you're not alone in feeling that way. I have heard my niece tell people, before, look, I understand that this is new to you, that it's a change for you, but you have to understand that this is my life, and this is what makes me happy. I spent years, being very, very, very miserable because I wasn't accepting myself for the way that I truly was.
Right.
And she also says, I know that misgendering is going to happen. I know that all of my life you have known me as a man. And now I'm telling you, I don't feel like a man. I feel like a woman inside.
Well, that just changed the meaning of man, I feel like a woman to me. Just sorry, but
yes. Yes. I mean, seriously. It does though. But she's also made the comment that she absolutely hates it when people who know better, will misgender her, and it's accidental, and they'll say he or him or something like that, and then they're immediately going, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
Right.
It's like, that makes me feel like shit. It's like, I don't want you to apologize to me. I just want you to do better.
Right, and Mark actually had something to say about that too.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, first, Kat was saying, I've been using they, them, etc. for reference for nearly everyone. When I'm working, parentheses retired, create staff user accounts. There's no way to know preference. I'd rather be neutral than offend someone.
Right.
And I've kind of adopted that stance too. Until I know better.
So have I.
Yeah. It's like, and instead, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm pretty cool with giving everybody the they, them.
Right.
That wasn't too hard to do. But Mark was saying, Bex, you want to get it or you want me to get it?
I got it. Mark was saying, yes, exactly. I'm fine if they say sorry, but when they overly apologize, it's when it gets a little much. Just say sorry, correct it, and move on.
And Mel said, I used to do the same thing, saying it to myself and hoping they catch it themselves. It was the first few months I came out to everyone, though.
It's been...
And you're not. That's what they need to understand.
Right.
And apparently I wasn't the only one to do the whole, man, I feel like a woman. Because both Missy and Kat were either singing it or about to type it. Song references, I tell you. Song references.
They can bring the world together.
Yes, they can. Mark, I miss your voice. Just saying.
It's, like I said, it can be quite frustrating, especially because it's been a couple years. I get it doesn't come like that just because it's been a couple years, but, you would think maybe they would get it just a teeny bit better. It's a lot better than before, at least they try to correct themselves when they do catch it, but a lot of the time I catch it myself, and it's like, man, I don't want to have to just keep on saying he every time you talk about me, and just interject with like he or son or sibling, because they'll slip up quite a few times while they're talking about me. Like for example, she's graduating in December, or she does something just like that, things like that. They'll look at me too and say, I'm sorry. I just kind of wish they would just correct it and, like I said, just move on.
I mean, like, you've probably heard a couple times since I've known about your preferred pronouns that I'll slip and I immediately correct myself. I'm not saying I'm sorry because I did that before and you're just like, no, you corrected yourself, you're cool. Okay. I correct myself. You appreciate it. I don't need to apologize. We all have that basic understanding. We move on.
Right.
I accidentally misgendered you on our About page. Fixed it.
Thank you.
Yes, actually, I was like, you know what? I'm sitting here in front of the computer. I could fix it while listening to you. fixed.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I was
God,
like,
what was
I remember when you sent me the link to that, and I looked at it, and I was like, it's absolutely great, except for this one thing.
And I just saw that, and I went, yep, and I was like, fuck!
Something I've been told quite a few times, especially by my therapist and my psychiatrist, is, and this is something I've never really noticed until quite recently, really, but they pointed out to me quite a few times that whenever someone does call me he and they, I beam.
You do.
I just get really happy.
I get it. It's validating.
It is. And that's exactly why I love this little Discord group I have with other trans teenagers, because, oh my God, they are so validating, just so lovely. We're there. We just support each other. I love it. I just love it, Kay. I'm like,
your face right now is absolutely amazing. I just have to tell you that. That is...
I mean, just to kind of put an analogy for it, your face right now, just thinking about being called a dude and a guy and all that, it looks like how the photos of me looked when I was holding my baby for the first time. Just beaming. As happy as could be.
Yeah, I just started noticing that because I would notice when people do get it correct. I'm like, oh my God, I've noticed I get this huge smile. I get real happy.
When I asked you about your pronouns,
of being seen and accepted.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, yeah.
When I asked about your pronouns, you literally did that with a huge fucking grin. And I was like, nailed it. And meanwhile in the chat, Mark was saying, sing the song, boys. Sing the song. Missy, I mean, you should be able to have the respect of being called who and what you are. And then Kat, wait, it's been a couple of years and they aren't any better? That's just being plain rude. No excuse. And then Mark's all very rude. There's no excuse for that. It sounds like they're just doing what makes them comfortable, apologizing and forgetting and then moving on. Much grr, very heckin' rude.
My mom has said quite a few, I don't think she meant to take it the way she did, but quite a few times she has joked about me changing my mind, like changing my name. Like, for example, she would say, we'll get used to calling you C, and you'll probably change your name to something else, or you'll change your name back to...
you don't need to say it if you don't want to.
I'm not going to say it, but just the birth name.
Yeah.
She said that even during my appointment to talk about my referral to a gender specialist. She said it right in front of my therapist and my psychiatrist. And, it kind of makes me wonder, like, are you guys trying to will it into existence?
That's kind of what it sounds like, honestly.
Yeah. We actually have some good comments here. These are all from Missy. And she says, as a counselor, this shouldn't be happening after this long. Your family knows and aren't dealing with their stuff to show you proper respect. You've made it clear and you have to live it. When we were talking about people actually calling you a guy and a dude and how you would smile and your face would lighten up, Missy says, I can hear how your voice changed, see? And she also says, often families think this is a phrase and they just don't adjust.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, that's what they were thinking,
Pretty sure at this point it's not a phase.
Yeah, it's been about 4 to 5 years. I don't quite know if cis people question this long, guys.
Right?
Yeah, still totally cis, though. Still totally cis. JK. No. Um, Actually, I do remember though when I really started accepting myself, when I really dropped a lot of the internalized transphobia that I had towards myself, that I was a faker, that since I wasn't suffering 24/7, feeling uncomfortable in my body all day, every day, that I must be lying, that I must be faking it, things like that. But it was around Christmas time. And my family, they had decided to get me a mixture of guy and girl stuff. And they got me some really good colognes. Oh, I love them.
All right, what's your cologne of choice?
It's from Bed Bath and Body Works. It's called Granite, but my favorite, and this is my special one that I'm saving for very, very special occasions. It's Noir. It's downright my favorite one.
Ooh.
Smells so good. I just love it.
I have smelled that Granite from Bath and Body Works. Oh my god, it's insanely good smelling.
All right,
right?
I'm gonna have to check it out now. Thanks. Now you're gonna make me go into Bath and Body Works.
They also have another one called Ocean that is also insanely good smelling. Like, oh my god.
But yeah, they got me a mixture of guy and girl stuff, and some of the girl stuff was, like shaving stuff, and one of them was lipstick.
I will say I do prefer using like the Venus female razor versus what the guys have, like the Mach 4. The women's razors are better. Just saying. Like I steal my wife's razors.
I'm fine with that because
they are better. I actually
help.
use a woman's razor to shave Adam. I was like, I'm buying them for me. I'm not gonna spend, all of that when I have to shave his face too. So I'm just like, I buy a separate one for him and one for me, and I'm just like, yeah, come here, child.
They shave closer and they last longer.
But they got me some makeup, and I don't really like makeup. I don't ever really use it, and the time that I did, I wasn't happy with it. Mostly because a lot of people said the lipstick that I was wearing looked like crayon. But that's something else, right? But I was looking at the lip gloss.
How did basically it's called? Tell us that you're not capable of wearing lipstick without telling us you're not capable of wearing lipstick.
But
the makeup can be repurposed. Play with your niece with it. Give her a makeover.
Yes.
There you go.
One of my nieces, they love their makeup. So I'll probably be giving them that stuff. But anyway, I was looking at the lipstick, and in my head, the first thing that popped into my mind was, I can be a feminine guy. Then I was like, wait a minute. But wait. I wasn't born a guy. What do you mean you want to be a feminine guy? And I remember
Have you ever heard of metrosexuals?
I was going to say, some guys can pull off some eyeliner makeup and stuff like that and look amazing.
Oh, definitely.
I've seen guys that are better looking than, me, in makeup. I mean.
But I was telling my cousin this because she's my other bro, right? We tell each other everything and everything when we talk to each other because we're basically like the same person. Both very introverted, both don't really like people, usually just keep to ourselves, things like that. And I was telling her all of this, and she started hyping me up. She's like, hell yeah, you can be a feminine man. Like, totally. I was like, yes, but one thing. No, I wasn't born a guy. And she's like, oh yeah. And we just
now that had to be validating too. Like
it was.
You forgot I was born, not a guy.
We laughed so much because we were like, dude, she is one of the best people ever, and she gets it right so many of the time. The rest of our family don't really, because I don't even know if they really know, or if they do, they just kind of ignore it. Even the family members that I have hold openly that I was questioning, that I didn't want to be called a she, they still called me a she. So
That's just
having
fucking
that,
rude. I'm sorry. That's just fucking rude.
yeah, it was uncomfortable to say the least. I would do this awkward thing that I do when I feel uncomfortable or nervous, and I smile awkwardly. And I do this little ha 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 ha, yeah, kind of laugh.
Right?
And I was like, yeah, yeah, okay. So I kind of have to go girl mode with them, and I just kind of awkwardly accept it before going off and not talking to them for the rest of the day because I'm mostly with my bro. But yeah, it was. I found it very funny, and I found it very heartwarming because she has my back. She's she's my dude.
Yeah, sounds like
She's
that's your
just
person.
Awesome.
She is my person.
Everybody
She's my
needs
other person.
Everybody needs a person. Seriously.
Definitely. Um, but I would say overall, my family's pretty good. Even my own father would correct my mom sometimes. I never really heard it, but she would tell me, just to,
Even
tell
just
me.
having secondhand knowledge of that, it has to feel really good when one of your parents is accepting like that. Like,
It is
someone
because
gets it.
him of all people, I don't tell him anything.
Mhm.
I'm not really close to him. I feel pretty awkward telling him anything. So, she kind of had to tell him all that type of stuff. But hearing that from him, it really shocked me. I was like, whoa, like, Dad called me C? And he was like, I wasn't expecting it from him. It left my mind blown. I was like, wow,
Like, well, that's your name, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes! Yes, it is!
Yes. I left my mind blown. But yeah, quite a few things I also realized while trying to accept myself is, you know, what is it? Trying to think about it. Oh my God, what was I saying? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I forgot to.
It was something about something. Very
Well, we were talking about
specific,
how
I
your
know.
dad
Oh,
acknowledged you
yeah.
and
Yeah,
even correct
that
your
was
mom. That's awesome.
that really it really
That's
shocked me.
that's a dad being a bro right there. Seriously.
Oh yeah. That it really did shock me. It really made me like, wow, Like him of all people.
He's like, well, looks like we're gonna have to go outside and play catch now.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
funny thing is, Mom would tell me a lot way before I started questioning or anything. She would always tell me that Dad was adamant that I was going to be a boy. And when I was born, and it was, he said, it's a girl. Well, you were right, Dad. You've got yourself a son.
Okay, so my comments crashed. I just went to the page and went, oh shit, there's a bunch of comments I missed. Yeah, there's a lot of comments in here for you.
I can't see
All right, so
most of them, so I'm not sure where to start.
okay, so where were we? I'm trying to find where my okay, there we go. Miss C was starting to write as a cis woman, and then period, and oh crap, I love my fingers being buttery. I tried to be funny and ruined it. Wah, wah, wah. Mark, no transition is the same, not a one. I hate when people try to say, wait, you're not suffering every day? Yeah, not trans, which is bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I internalized that stuff because I saw, as a younger person, I looked up to certain YouTubers, They were just the people that I would look up to, and then realizing, oh yeah, they're pretty problematic in themselves. It was pretty not validating, but freeing, because I came to the realization that I'd say I'm more non-binary. Like, this is a little bit, it might sound a little, not weird, that's stuff. Stuff. Internally, I don't really feel like anything. I'm just kind of in a limbo. You know, there's really nothing there, I would say. But externally, I would rather look like a guy.
Right.
And rather be called a guy. And there was this one YouTuber, because I was watching some of the stuff by the previous YouTuber and how all the problems they caused. And this one person said that they were a non-binary dude. And that hit me. I was like, oh my God, you know, that feels comfortable to me. You know, that feels like the label that fits right now, you know? It made me happy to discover that, because it was like, wow, you know, someone else feels a similar way. Quite a few other people feel a similar way. It was wonderful. It was very, very wonderful.
And Mark
very
was
freeing.
Mark was saying that they found out the hard way that they're not metrosexual. Kat was saying, yes, guys, an eyeliner. Mitzi's a guy liner, which of course that's where I go with that.
Yes.
And then Bexy was saying that Mark is a good-looking guy, and Mark's all, thanks, Bex, but I'll just leave my lashes to give you that natural eyeliner look. And of course, I had to point out, it's awesome having long eyelashes. Just saying, like, I love that I have long eyelashes. I really do. I don't need, like mascara or eyeliner. I just got awesome lashes. And Missy was saying that you aren't alone, C. But Mark, you definitely have more of the actual, like, you look like you belong out in the woods. Not like you're trying to be like a lumberjack kind of thing, but just you look like a country dude. Like, seriously, like, I grew up around country dudes. You look like a country dude. And I mean that in all the best possible ways, because country dudes are awesome. Country dudes tend to be really down to earth. Country dudes tend to be very honest. And, yeah. So, there you go.
I cannot wait. There's going to come a day where I am actually going to get to meet Mark in person, and I'm going to hug the stuffing out of him.
Yes. Hug him for me, too.
There's a day that's going to come up where we're all going to actually meet each other. So, yeah.
Yes.
And then we're going to hug each other, and then Bexy's going to be stuck with us.
Yeah, well, if she comes to California, I ain't hugging her. That's how I hold her hostage. No,
bastard-ass best friend.
Yep.
Got me backed into a corner.
Yep. Hey, you put yourself there. I just spotted it. I found the loophole.
Oh, I want to meet and hug Missy, too.
Yes,
Hey, Kat.
So many of the people that have been on the show, so many people in the chat. Like, honestly, I would love it if this took off enough to where we could do, like, a con. You know, get some other mental health podcasts together, and we all have a con.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think
that
it'd be
would
amazing.
be awesome. Oh, my goodness.
I think it'd be absolutely amazing. Then we could also, chit-chat, brainstorm, and learn and teach, other mental health podcasts and stuff. And, maybe have more crossover episodes and stuff. Because, I mean, as I've said multiple times, so people are like, they're your competition. I'm like, technically, sure, they're my competition, but this is more about helping people. And if someone's a listener of our podcast and then they find another podcast that just resonates better for them, by all means,
Good for them.
Good for them. If they leave us, that's fine. They found something better. You know what? And if that happens the other way around, where we get a couple of people from other podcasts because they feel more comfortable here, that's great too. But here's the beautiful thing about podcasts. You can follow a bunch of them. So
yes.
you don't have to pick and choose. And yeah, I think that we have a pretty good community. Like, I've talked to some other podcasts, and everybody is just super supportive of anyone else that enters into the arena. It's not like we're all trying to, like, this is my area, you're not allowed in.
Each other, yeah.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, cool, more people to help advocate.
Yes. I do want to say before the episode ends...
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left.
I want to sing the song that I showed you guys on Tuesday that made us, made y'all,
Yes, I'd love for you to share that with everybody else. It was amazing.
Also, just a little background on the name of the episode. There's this game. It's called Friday Night Funkin'. The goal is to fuck your girlfriend. And the songs are
surprisingly
amazing. Good.
They're fucking amazing.
They're just beeps and boops, but like the title says, it's so fire.
Good. With my headphones on, I can't really headbang. I really wanted to headbang. I would be in a lot of pain today because of it, but no, seriously, the music is fire. It is so good. I suspect that the game was made just to showcase the music. That's my suspicion.
It's one of those rhythm games. It kills your fingers, man. I played the first week and oh my god, I was so anxious because I kept on dying. And when you die, you get blue-balled. But I finally passed just by a sliver. And I was shaking. I was sweating. I was like, whoa! I was so happy. But yes, the other song, it's a song I've been listening to for years, really. I discovered it when I was deeper into my depression, and it was a song that I related to very, very closely, and I'm sure a lot of other people will too. I'm going to sing it, so it might not sound that good.
Oh,
I will.
Everybody says that.
I'll put. I'm sure either one of us will put the link in the chat. I probably will. But yeah, I want to sing that before we end everything. So.
All right. So yeah, after you sing that, we'll go through the comments and probably wrap it up. How's that sound?
All right.
Because we only have 8 minutes.
That's fine. All right, I can get this done. Okay. Just an average girl, she always wore a smile. She was cheerful and happy for a short while. Now she's older, things are getting colder. Life's not what you thought she was, someone had told her. She told you she was down, you let it slip by. So from then on, she kept it on the inside. She told herself she was alright, but she was telling white lies. Can't you tell? Look at her dull eyes. She tried to stop herself from crying almost every night, but she knew that there was no chance of feeling alright. Summer came by, all she wore was long sleeves, 'cause the cuts on her wrists were bleeding through, you see. She knew she was depressed, didn't want to admit it. Didn't think she fitted, everyone seemed to miss it. She carried on like a soldier with a battle wound, bleeding out from every cut her body consumed. She had no friends at school, all alone she sat, and if someone were to notice, she would blame the cat. But those cuts on her wrist, they were no mistake, that no one cared enough to save her from the self-hate. Things were going down, never really up, and here she is now stuck in this stupid rut. She knew exactly what she had to do next, just stand on that chair and tie the rope around her neck. She wrote a letter with her hands shaking wild. Look at me now, are you proud of your precious child? But she knew that her parents were the ones to blame. It was the world that should bow down its head in shame. She stood up on the chair and looked out at the moon. Just don't think, it'll all be over soon. The chair fell down as she took her final breath. It's all over, all gone, now she's greeting death. Her mother walks in and falls down to the floor, and now nothing can take back what she just saw. The little girl that she raised is just hanging there, her body's pale and her face is violently bare. She sees the note and unfolds it with care. All she does is stare. How can this be fair? She starts reading as the tears roll down her face. I'm sorry, Mom, but this world is just not my place. I tried for so long to fix this and fit in. I come to realize this world's full of sin. There's nothing for me here. I'm just a waste of space. I've got no reason to stay here with this awful race. It's a disgrace, I was misplaced, born in the wrong time and in the wrong place. It's okay though, 'cause you'll see me soon. You'll know when your time has come, just look at the moon as it shines bright throughout the night. And remember, everyone's facing their own fight, but I can't deal with the pain, I'm not a fighter. You can make it through the night, just hug your pillow tighter. So let the world know that I died in vain, 'cause the world around me is the one to blame. And I know in a year you'll forget I'm gone, 'cause I'm not really something to be dwelled on. That's what they used to tell me, all those kids at school. So I'm going by the law, majority rule. My presence on this is not needed any longer, and if anything, I hope this makes you stronger. You're the best friend that I ever had. Such a shame I had to make you so very sad. Just remember that you meant everything to me, and to my heart, you're the only one that held the key. Now it's time to go, I'm running out of space to write, and yes, I've lost my fight, but please just hold on tight. I'm watching over you from the clouds above, and singing down the purest and whitest of, to watch over you and be my helpful eye. So this is it, world. Goodbye.
Yeah, that song still hits really hard.
Yeah, I think you could hear, but through some of it, my voice kind of
quavered a bit.
I was coming close to tearing up. Yeah.
So we have less than 5 minutes. Let's blast through these messages here. When I said that we're talking about Mark a little bit, and it's all I do be wearing flannel. Then of course about the hugs. Mark's all squishy hugs. Country dudes wear flannel. Yes. Missy, I want to meet and hug all of you. HYG, because fingers. Sarah, I think being stuck with any of you would be fantastic. And then we talk about the convention. Mark's all, I'll come dressed as Batman. Kat, yes, I'll come dressing as the Michelin Woman. And Mark's the only way I'll get a six-pack to show. Michelin man, I mean woman. And Missy, you could come on mine when I have one. Open support. Yes, Missy, you start a podcast, we'll definitely come. Bexy said, I'm coming as Mimi from the Drew Carey Show. And then you got the go see go when you decide that you're going to sing. And I explained how that made me cry the first time I ever heard it. And I think everyone who has been suicidal can relate. Missy said, I felt that with hearts. With fuck, crying now. Kat sending hearts. Misty sending more hearts. Sarah, holy hell, totally have goosebumps. Mark, great song. Very great song. All right, and we have 3 minutes left. Any final words?
I tried posting it in the chat, the link to the song. It's called, if anyone wants to listen to it, it's called Her Last Words. And it is my sad song.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know that I could listen to that song again very easily, ever again.
Hearing that song in C's voice just...
It makes it much more personal. Yeah. Yeah. So that said, I went ahead and added the Discord link to our homepage. Now it's in the upper right-hand corner on every page. So, yay. Okay. Join us on our Discord. C has posted art there. Bexy's posted poems there. I've posted music there. We all kind of put our stuff there. Everybody is free to share your art there. There's an art channel just for that. It's open to everyone. Other than that, we will be back next week. The next week's episode, it's going to be intense. I'm just telling you that now. Bring some tissues. It's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a good one. Someone that I've known for a while, love to death, and I can't wait to actually get to see their face, other than just a avatar of them. But yeah, it's one of those online friendships. We work together for a while. Outside of that, we will see you guys next week. I am E.
I'm Bexy.
I'm C.
And we'll catch you guys next week.